You fall asleep and wake up. Fall asleep again and wake up again. If this happened to you last night or almost every night, I want you to understand something right now while we're just getting started. You're not broken. Your brain is fine. Your body is fine. What the modern world calls insomnia, your ancestors called an ordinary Tuesday. They didn't go to doctors. They didn't take pills. They simply woke up, did something quiet, and fell asleep again. This story isn't about fixing you, because you don't need fixing. This story is about how we forgot what it means to sleep properly, and why returning to that knowledge may be the most peaceful gift you can give yourself. Before we travel back in time to nights without electricity, without phones, without melatonin-killing blue light, I want to ask you something. Don't fight sleep. If your eyes close, let them close. If you listen to the end, great. If you fall asleep within 20 minutes, even better. This channel exists precisely for this. So if you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe, just so you don't have to search for them later. Now turn off the light, get comfortable, breathe, and let's return to the night we lost. Most people today consider 8 hours of sleep straight to be ideal. You lie down, you close your eyes, you wake up in the morning. And if there was even one awakening in between, you think something's wrong. Sleeping pill ads tell you, regain your sleep. Doctors ask, do you wake up at night? And you nod, feeling guilty. But here's the strange thing. If you open diaries, letters, court records, and medical treatises from the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, you won't find complaints about bad sleep. You'll find descriptions of a completely different life. A life in which the word night meant not one action, but two. Let's look at a very ordinary evening in England in 1590, or in France in 1650, or in a German village in 1720. The sun is setting. At 7, at 8 in the evening. There is no gas in the house, no kerosene. There is only a fireplace that burns out by 9. Tallow candles are expensive. Lanterns are only for the rich. The average person goes to bed when it gets dark because there is nothing else to do. And so he lies down on a bed of straw or on a bed with rope net in a room where 6 people sleep because they gather heat together. And he falls asleep. This is called the first sleep. Sometimes it was called dead sleep because it's deep, heavy, total darkness, no street lights outside, no headlights of passing cars, no hum of the refrigerator, silence, and in this silence, a person sleeps 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours, and then he wakes. It's not a nightmare, not anxiety, not sudden fear. It's simply awakening. Historian Roger Eckert, who spent 15 years studying the nights of the past, found thousands of references to this moment. In Old English, it was called the watch. In French, premier sommeil and deuxième sommeil, first sleep and second sleep. Between them, a break. From 40 minutes to 2 hours, sometimes up to 3 if the night is long and the winter is cold. And here happens what modern man considers a catastrophe. Men of the past considered it a pause, an opportunity, even a gift, because those 2 hours between the first and second sleeps were the most important hours of the day. Yes, of the day. Because the night wasn't just a black hole between sunset and sunrise. The night had its own anatomy, its own rituals, its own rules. And now I'll tell you exactly what people did during those 2 hours. Get ready, you're in for something different. The very first option, and probably the most peaceful, is prayer. In Catholic and Protestant Europe, staying awake at night was considered sacred because it's written in the Psalms. At midnight I rose to praise you. And people got up. Literally. They got out of their warm beds. Sometimes they threw on a cloak. Sometimes not if there was a small nightlight burning in the room. or just moonlight filtering through a window made of an ox bladder. They knelt and they prayed, not quickly, unhurriedly. The prayer lasted 10, 20, 30 minutes. Then they could lie back down and wait for the second sleep. For a believer, these hours were the time when God was closest, when the world was quietest, when you could say things you couldn't say during the day, in the hustle and bustle. This wasn't a punishment. It was a consolation. But prayer wasn't the only activity. There was something else. Work, yes. People worked at night, but not the way you think. Not like in a factory. Quietly, slowly, in the dark. Farmers got up to check on their livestock, whether a cow had calved, whether a lamb was cold. Townspeople to top up the oil in the lamp that burned all night in the shop. Women spun. The spinning wheel became a musical instrument of the night, a monotonous, soporific sound. Even though they were awake, they didn't fall asleep to it. They worked to it so they could sleep later. It wasn't hard labor. It was half sleep, half work, a state that psychologists describe